Welcome into the Denver Sports Podcast presented by the one and only Breckenridge Brewery. Our favorite brewery. I'm hearing myself double. Hold on. Okay, we're ready. I was like, whoa, I did not like hearing my voice repeated back to me. Welcome into the Denver Sports Podcast presented by Breckenridge Brewery, our favorite brewery here in Dmvr. We love Breck brews. Go get them. The seltzers are literally the best. Drew, do you have a Breck brew? Juicy drop, of course.
Always.
A juice drop, but we call them juicy drops here at the Dmvr bar. All right, it's middle of August. Really nothing is going on, so we are doing a mailbag. Did everyone else hear that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Seems better now.
Technical difficulties.
Okay. I'm going to keep talking and we're going to see if it fixes itself. But it's the middle of August. Not much is going on. So we're going to do a mailbag. We asked the DNVR Lounge, our Discord channel, to ask us some questions that we're going to answer today. And some of them are great. Some of them are a little weird. So we're going to get to know each other a lot on this show. So let's get started. One that we answered last week, but we'll get to it quickly, is Team Teddy or Team Locke. Mac, who are you rooting for?
Neither. If I had to pick, I think it would be Drew Locke because there's the most, he has the most that has been put into him. Like, the team has invested the most in Drew Locke. And if he doesn't ever amount to what they want him to be, it's just going to have been a waste of time, and nobody wants to waste time. So I'm praying and hoping that Drew Locke works out and he can be the franchise quarterback that they're hoping he turns into be. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, they brought Teddy in to be the backup, and if Drew can't win the starting job over Teddy, I think that's very indicative of him as a football player and his future. So I'm hoping for his sake that he can win the starting job and does a good job with being the starting quarterback. So
it's definitely more ideal for Locke to win this job and do a good job. But from what is being said at practice, it looks like Teddy has the lead in this QB competition. We'll see. This week they play the Vikings on Saturday at 2:00, and Drew Locke will be starting in that game. Teddy Bridgewater will be starting in the following game against the Seahawks. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see in real game action how they play. Rudo, who are you going for? Team Locke or Team Teddy?
Well, after Perna tried the two gloves on the golf course the other day, I think I got to go with Drew Locke after that performance. So,
All right, Henry?
I'm team just like one of them needs to learn how to throw a football. And if not, then run the ball a lot. That's my team. My team is don't make the wrong decision, and one of them please be good.
Great analyst.
Thank you.
Good job, Henry. Okay, Drew?
Yeah, Team Drews. I'm out. Drews are good.
Team
Go
Drews.
Drews.
Okay. So it looks like Team Drews all the way on this podcast. Next question from AJ Hayfley himself. If each of you could cover a different sport for a year, which one would you choose?
Hockey.
I would cover
Give me the
hockey as
Avalanche.
well.
Oh my God.
I would love
cover
to
the
cover
Avalanche
the
on hockey.
NHL.
Yeah.
Rudo, what about you?
does it have to be one of the big four?
I don't think so.
It could be Big Four in college. Let's stick to what we got here.
Can I say golf?
You could say golf. That is something that we have here at DNVR.
I would love to cover golf. You go to all these awesome places. I'm one of those weird people who actually likes watching golf, so I would very much enjoy covering that sport and the ups and downs of it.
It's really cool because I know that Rudo, you've played golf your whole life. Same with
Yep.
Eric, but I feel like the DNVR Golf League this summer kind of like re-energized. At least I know Eric and you in
For
like
sure.
loving this game again. And I think it just really takes like getting yourself out there and playing, even though you can have ups and downs on that course. It's really cool to see that you guys love it again and that you would cover golf.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's nice to have people to play with instead of just because I don't want to go to the golf course and be like, yeah, could I go out as a single?
Yeah. Speaking of, we have the DMVR golf tournament coming up September 3rd. Yes, Henry, is that it?
Yes.
The panic
Yes,
in
it
Henry's eyes of not
Just
knowing.
Usually
no,
people
I
don't
should
ask
know
me
this.
things like that.
Is
Like, is that the right day for the golf tournament? But then I remembered it's the day of the
It's
first
the
Buffs
Buffs,
game.
Yeah.
That
yes.
makes
Okay,
sense.
September 3rd. You can still sign up. You could you can bring your friends and get a foursome, or you can sign up as a single, and we'll pair you up with someone. There is giveaways. There's 4 Callaway bags. It's really cool. The first one was so much fun. Mac didn't even play golf, but she had a blast just drinking out on the course that day.
Yeah, I was having a great time out there, and
I can do that. Yeah.
I hit a golf ball once, and it was not good, but I still had a great time. So
Yeah, you can catch
definitely
that on the
follow.
video. We did a recap video, and her swing is in there and everything.
It's
But definitely
tragic.
check that out. All right, Henry, what would you cover? The
Ooh,
Broncos?
that's a good one. It's tough to beat golf. I mean, when you really are just like traveling around and going to all these different golf courses, plus like talking with golfers, those are pretty chill people to just be like, hey, how'd it go out there? Like, excited, it would be
excited?
a good time for a bunch of different reasons. Whereas like I would love hockey. It's just very intense.
It's
And
a lot of games.
yeah, I think golf is a good one. Plus, it's like 4 days a week. Plus, you're probably out there a couple days before. It's a good time.
All right, Mac,
Yeah, hockey.
hockey, you already answered
For
that.
sure.
Drew?
I don't want to jinx it, but I think this year is the year for the Avs. So to cover a team at that point would have been it's like a dream come true. So
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Drew,
Now's the time.
I know you love your Rockies and the men baseball, but what other team would you cover?
Yeah, I mean, so I actually have covered the Nuggets before I ever came here, and I really love basketball. That's I have a long time love affair with basketball, but the NBA is kind of a unique animal, and it's one I haven't been quite as in love with as of late as I used to be. I'm completely falling in love with hockey, but I feel like that would be really fun for me to cover for like 3 weeks, right until the point I realize I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm really just like all of my stories would be human interest stories, and like, this guy's scored, isn't he fun? And it's like
Spinny goals.
Yeah, like people can only do spinny goals as analysis for so long. So like, it'd be fun for me, but I think I would ultimately probably get frustrated by not knowing anything about the sport.
Yeah.
I'd like to cover basketball. There's also something about the way the structure of the NFL that, having covered baseball now for this is like 6th or 7th year on the beat, and it's every day, and the schedules can get weird at times, and day games after night games, or this year we've had like 3 night games in a row or 3 day games in a row at times, and the schedule can just get absolutely out of control. And there's something about the NFL having games on pretty much Sunday every week. Your handful of times it's going to be something else. Your practices are regimented. The games only go so long. That's the other thing. It's like, I never know when I arrive at the park that day if the ball game is going to go 2.5, 3 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Are we going extras? At least now with the the runner on third rule and all of that the games don't go as long. But I love it, but there's something about the polar opposite of it that's very appealing.
Yeah, I don't.
Totally.
We don't cover MLS anymore, not to rub salt in the wounds for the 6 people that always want us to cover the Rapids.
We're
Love
trying
you
to
all,
figure it
by the
out,
way.
guys. We're trying to figure it out.
You're
I'd
about
love
to
to.
get canceled by soccer.
That's
Twitter.
the dream. That 90
Okay.
minutes and they done. Like they
Yeah.
Well, 90, like they add a few minutes at the end.
Yeah, of both halves, and there's a halftime, and they could go to like a penalty shootout or something if it's a game that matters.
Right. We've got like 3 possible length outcomes. I love it so much.
Okay.
I'm in the same boat as Drew. Like, I thought about saying baseball, but I'd be like, man, I'd get the game 120 and just be like, I can't do this anymore.
It is a lot. Like, you honestly, it's like training for a marathon. You have to like mentally prepare yourself to be dialed into a team for 182 games, and it is like, it's exhausting. Or 162 games. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, you have to focus so hard, especially when your team is dog crap, like the Rockies. It's so hard to focus on that long for a team.
Coming up with questions for Bud Black every day is really fun. So,
like, how did
you still can't hit on the road?
Okay.
Right, exactly right.
We've got a lot of questions, so we're going to move on to the next one. Austin Novak, who's a big DMVR bets supporter, he asked, not sure if you've done this, but Mount Rushmore for each major sport. We've done the Denver sports equivalent of this on a prior podcast, so I can link that to you and send it your way. Check it out for anyone else who wants to know. That's a really great episode. So we're going to move to the next question, which would be from Scott Free. He said, would you support single elimination playoff for your sport or best of 3 or 5 for football, since they are already single elimination? I will say real quickly, if it was 3 to 5 games for football, that playoff would take years. Like, that would take so much time unless you were playing a lot, and like, you wouldn't want to do that to these guys. So I wouldn't like a series for football, but I don't know about the other sports. How do you guys feel about that? Would you want the Stanley Cup to just be one freaking game?
No, best of 7s all the way in the proper playoffs. I would absolutely love a play-in game though in hockey. I think
would be good.
That would be excellent. I think every sport should have some sort of a play-in game with like the 8-9 seed in hockey. It would be, but as for the playoffs as a whole, no, best of 7 for sure.
How do you guys feel for baseball, Drew and Matt?
I feel like Drew's gonna agree with me. Like, baseball is a game of series, so obviously you have to have series in the playoffs for baseball, and they already do have a single elimination game with the wild card.
Yeah.
So you kind of like get the best of both worlds with the playoffs for baseball, and I think they both already exist. But I would never just say single elimination for the entirety of the World Series. Like, that would suck.
It would be done so quickly.
Yeah.
And like, it's so hard because like doing a best of 7 series really allows like the best team to win, rather than like one team like just had this like special mojo that day.
I mean, that'd be brutal too, right? One team has a bye and the other team in the wild card has to start their best pitcher, and then they just come into a 1-game series.
Right.
Yeah. And like, baseball's a game of moments. Like, all it can take is a moment to shift the entire game. And so, you know, you might have been the best team all season and then just have one bad moment in a single elimination game and your season's over. Like, that would suck.
That would be really hard. Henry, what do you think?
I feel like all the playoffs are the way they should be right now. Except for college football. That needs to be expanded, but it sounds like that's on the way.
Yeah, I do like adding a single elimination game though for a play-in game, for hockey. I think that would be great. But all right, next question is a hard one coming in from Steph Snoichi. She said, "Fave fantasy sports team name." Like, I gotta think of that. Like, that's hard. / fantasy league loser punishment. I saw this on Twitter. I think a lot of people did. I thought it was incredible. It was the Waffle House punishment.
That's what we do.
Have you guys heard of that yet?
No.
Okay, so basically the loser of the fantasy, it varies with like your team, but the loser of your fantasy football league has to go to a Waffle House for 24 hours. Every pancake they eat removes an hour. And so they have to sit there for 24 hours and eat a bunch of pancakes. I think if you bail out, then there's like a consequence, but I think that's freaking hilarious. And a lot of people like live tweet it while they're doing it, and it's super entertaining.
Yeah, our first year doing it, the guy who actually lost wound up being gluten intolerant. And so he had to do something else instead. And then this year we still haven't gotten around to the punishment because COVID makes everything so difficult. Yeah. So we've been doing that for like 2 years. We still haven't gotten the payoff of somebody sitting in a Waffle House.
That sounds so funny to me. I really like that.
It's a great punishment.
Like I know people who like have to shave, like my old fantasy league, you had to shave your head. Thankfully, I was in the championship 3 years in a row, so I didn't have to worry about that one. But then no one ever actually did it. Like you want something that like people have to do.
Yeah. One year we did like a calendar shoot. Like obviously not like a you know what kind of calendar shoot it was. But that was tough because everybody's supposed to like organize their month. So I think I had like February and I had to like dress the guy up all Valentine's Day. Like, so that kind of stuff can get really difficult too. The perfect fantasy punishment is something that you can just knock out quickly, but the loser's going to really, really hate it.
Yeah. We have McKinnon would dislike that punishment as in the Waffle House Punafish. Yes, he would. He would not be down for that.
He'd also dislike my favorite team name too.
Oh, this would be your favorite team name?
No. My favorite team name is in honor of the new fast food we have here in Colorado over the last year, McKinnon Outburger.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Fave fantasy sports team name. Does anyone have one for that? That one's really hard. I struggle with that.
I'm not good at that pun stuff.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
Ryan needs to be on here, and he would like give a bunch.
Yeah.
It just depends on like who's on your team. Like, it's hard. All right. Next question from Ace. If you could join any fantasy football league, why would it be the something league that only has 3 spots left? I don't know. Go join that league. It only has 3 spots left. I think that was the point of that question. Fave Olympic sport from Steph. My fave Olympic sport is gymnastics all the way. I freaking love watching gymnastics. I got passionate about that and started cursing. Drew, what about you?
Might be the same actually. Gymnastics and track and field, the old school stuff. I really like the hurdles because I used to do hurdles. I competed in state at the 110 high hurdles. That was my race, so I like watching that. But gymnastics, men's and women's, they're absolutely incredible. Extraordinary athletes. I don't understand why they don't do some of the same events. It's something I need to learn more about. Like the women don't do the rings, or the parallel bars. But yeah, it's incredible what they can do. So I like almost all of the Olympic sporting events. Those are the ones I probably get attached to the most.
Henry, what about you?
I'm a big women's national team fan, so it's basically really all I paid attention to this year was the women's soccer tournament. And I guess I did watch the men's basketball team too because you never know when they're going to choke, and there's not anything to feel better than watching Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Dame, all those guys I really dislike potentially choke.
I agree. The women's national team went into penalty or shootout. That was super entertaining. So that's really fun to watch. Rudo, Mac, what about you guys?
Go ahead.
There's so many. I love the Olympics.
I watched an obscene amount.
Yeah, gymnastics is a classic. I'm with Hank. I also really love the women's soccer team just because they're so good. And I love watching them usually win gold or win at all. I also love watching, I know this is going to be a typical answer, but I love the USA baseball team. It's so cool to see them like playing together from different organizations and representing the country. But yeah, I love the Olympics. So this is awesome.
I also got to add, Rudo, before you hop in there, Olympic golf is now like a thing. I think that's really cool. Is that what you were going to say, Rudo?
No, I was going to go way more obscure things.
I think Olympic golf, like it was cool to watch, and it was just different. And I hope that it continues to be in the Olympics. It was just cool to see that out there.
Yeah. For me, for a long time, I've really liked the archery because it's something that I'm just entirely incapable of doing, and watching them, like, the worst they do is like 2 inches from the bullseye every time, and it's like I can't even hit the target is awesome. But this year, the new sport, competitive climbing, is amazing. If you haven't watched that, it's so cool. Go watch that. That sport is so dope. That
is very interesting. With archery, I was at a bachelorette party and I had to learn archery. It was like a lesson, and I killed it, I gotta say. And the one thing that I couldn't, I'm not joking when I said I was doing really well, shooting everything perfectly, and then I had to shoot a buffalo. And everyone's recording it. They're like, oh, this will be so funny to send to Ryan. Ryan's going to break. It was Ryan's sister. They're like, they're going to break up with Allie. Ryan's going to be so upset that she shot a buffalo. I couldn't shoot. Like, I kept missing. I don't know why. It's just my heart couldn't shoot Ralphie. It was I was bummed because we're doing really well. But archery is very hard. Okay. Is Air Force the best college football program in Colorado right now? It is, with a smiley face. No.
No.
No. I mean, they do so well.
They're really cool. They're really cool. Ed Henry loves Air Force and like the way they play.
Are they the second best?
Yes.
I think so. Like by the results, I would say probably.
Yeah.
Not that I haven't been here long enough to say that that's like what we expect. But I can say over the last couple of years, yes.
I mean, at one point they were better than CU. I will admit that they have.
Technically,
they had a better record and beat them. So, but
they played very different teams, though.
I wouldn't get carried away with it being the best. All right, next question. Steph asked, has a snake draft of the Dmvr menu already been done? It has not, but Mac and I got to try our new food items today, which they start today. We have a new menu. There's a lot of really great stuff. Definitely come down and check it out. We've got hot dogs on there. We've got a club sandwich. We've got some Colorado burgers with green chili on there. It's freaking incredible. A new burrito, onion rings, salads, Brussels. We have so many new items on the menu. Highly recommend coming down to check it out. Mac, which one was your favorite that you tried today?
Oh my God, it was all so good. I think it's a toss-up between the Bronco burger that had onion rings, barbecue sauce, chipotle aioli, or the new soft pretzels.
Yes.
Right. So
soft pretzel with cheese on there. And then we also have a dessert that's those same pretzels, but with cinnamon over it. And then dipping sauce is hot, spicy honey. It is so good. Yes, I think the dessert was my favorite just because I'm a dessert girl. But I really liked the hot dogs as well. The glizzies, as Dre and Eric would call them. Okay, next question. What teams do you think can have an unexpected breakout to beat the odds year and make the playoffs in your respective sports? So, Rudo, out of the NHL, who do you think is going to have an unexpected breakout year?
Well, now that Marc-Andre Fleury has confirmed he will be playing for Chicago, I think they have a decent chance to make the playoffs.
Gross.
Unfortunately, want nothing to do with that for so many reasons right now.
Yeah.
So if I had to pick someone else, which I would very much like to do, I don't know if I'd say like it was a breakout and they've made the playoffs, in the past couple of years, but I think Winnipeg has done a very good job of making themselves a much more competitive team that I think they're the only team that can really challenge the Avalanche in the Central Division. So I'll say Winnipeg.
All right. Drew and Mac, what about baseball?
Like for the rest of this year?
Next year.
For next season. So like a team that's kind of out of it. It's always such a crapshoot in baseball. Like you never would have taken the Giants and the Reds to be relevant right now. And they are.
I was going to say there already is a team this year, the Giants, who nobody was expecting to be good at the beginning of the season that are now the first place team in the National League West. So there's kind of that already. But next season, it's hard.
It's always hard a year out with the whole offseason to play out. And this offseason is going to be absolutely wild in baseball. There's a ton of talent that's going to be in the free agency pool. And they're negotiating a new CBA. And the owners and players couldn't be farther apart. There's going to be all kinds of new things. I think they're going to expand. We were talking earlier about how much postseason playoffs. I think there's going to be more teams in the playoffs moving forward, stuff like that. So it's going to change the way teams operate. They're going to make tanking less viable, but how much less? And should teams be trying to be good? And so it's going to be a whole new world. The next time they go out there and play Major League Baseball, it's going to be under a set of rules that are going to feel a bit different. But you can always pick randos. We were pretty good coming into the year, I would say. Mac and I were both liked Toronto as a fun team to randomly get in there, and they're kind of in the mix out there. So teams like that, but you really never know. Like Cincinnati, it doesn't make sense. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They have the same team they've had for a couple of years. They're just better now. And so
the Giants are just a collection of random old baseball players, and then nobody's that just turned into somebody's, and it's just so unexpected. Especially in the National League West, when everyone thought it was going to be the Padres and the Dodgers going at it like all season long.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Henry, how about for college?
So, I mean, like, nationally, that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's 4 teams that make the playoff. So
Bama just
Bama,
stumped people.
and there'll be Clemson, and it'll be Ohio State. And there's kind of this one rotating spot that goes to, like, Oklahoma or Notre Dame. And that's the end of the list, but it's one of those 2. There isn't going to be anything this year.
All right,
that
what about
changes
the
there.
Pac-12?
Pac-12, Stanford is one to watch. It's probably like it'll probably be one of those teams that always is. USC, Oregon, Washington. But Stanford, people are kind of low on them right now after they went on like a decade-long run. They won 4 games in 2019, started slow last year. And I think people forget about them, even though they're well coached and big and strong. And what else could you want in college football?
All right. Well, quarterback for sure. Speaking of college football, we got DraftKings giving you an offer right now. It's everyone's favorite time of year. Maybe people on this podcast would disagree. Everyone has different favorite times of year, but college football is back. College sports are back. And to celebrate, DraftKings is offering new players. If you bet $1 or more on any college football game, you will get $200 in free bets instantly. Once again, DraftKings is just throwing money at you. And guess what? Their system is really easy to use. It's always worth it. I've seen a lot of people online complaining about a recent new sportsbook that has come out here in Colorado, and they're having a lot of issues with it. So DraftKings is always safe, reliable. You can withdraw your money really easily. You can put money in really easily, and they are just offering you free money. Like I said, $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any college football game, no matter what. Download that DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code DNVR to receive that offer. It's promo code DNVR for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And of course, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Stravacraft Coffee is next. It's one of our favorite sponsors here at DMVR. They've been here since the very, very beginning, and they are so great. It's changed Drew's life. Drew loves drinking Stravacraft Coffee, especially because it's CBD infused, so it helps with those jitters. It doesn't give you those jitters. You can drink a lot of it. Drew drinks a lot of it. Yeah.
Like a lot of it. Like
we were just talking about how much coffee you could drink in one day in our company Slack. Stravacraft Coffee, you can drink it all the time. I add some Breckenridge Distillery espresso vodka in there on some game nights. Because it's CBD infused, it doesn't give you like that jittery, like I'm overload on caffeine effect, and it kind of wakes you up a little. It's a good combo. It's called the Alley Special if you ever want to come to the bar and get it. Sometimes you need that extra caffeine, and that is a great way to do it. But right now, you can use the promo code DMVR25 to get 25% off. First-time users, they also have a subscription base, so you can have your coffee delivered straight to your door every 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever you prefer. That way, you never run out of coffee, and you can use that promo code DMVR25 to get that 25% off. So definitely recommend checking them out. Now, back to some more questions. Which Denver sports stadium has the best vibe? This is a hard one. Rudo and I were talking about this. Because, like, obviously the team that's doing the best, the arena is, like, the most fun.
Yeah.
So, like, playoffs, I feel like it's Ball Arena, Pepsi Center with the Avs. Like, that feeling is unforgettable. But I also think like a packed Folsom Field is so much freaking fun. And a packed Coors Field is a lot of fun with Rockies fans. So I feel like that's a really hard question. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's like, first of all, which vibe do you want? Like,
it's true.
Ball Arena packed to the brim for a playoff game. the feeling is going to be electric. Coors Field on a random day in August where you're just chilling watching the sunset is a completely different vibe, but both are amazing and at the right time. So it just depends.
And we've talked about it. Playoff baseball at Coors Field, so much fun. Playoff hockey at Ball Arena, so much fun. Nuggets too, like Folsom. It's really hard. That's a really hard question.
Yeah, I'd say like if everything else is the same, like it's a good team or it's a bad team, it's a playoff game for anybody, I'm going Broncos.
That's true.
It's theirs on a different level compared to the rest of town in terms of the way people care. And that might not be the way things should be, but there's a reason why there's like 4 radio stations dedicated just to the Broncos. And that type of energy, that type of hype, I just don't think at its best it can be beaten.
And we've kind of talked about this topic before, like the game day experience. And I think we all talked about football because you have the tailgating beforehand and then you have that in-arena feel. While like the other sports, at least, well, baseball in Philly, you can tailgate before the game in the parking lot, so that's really fun. But like in Mile High, like the game day experience just gets elongated when you can tailgate beforehand and add that to your experience. But Mile High, the first time I went to Mile High and heard when people like jump and it just rattles, that was insane. Like a lot of players talk about how they don't like to play in Denver because of the vibe of the stadium and that sound.
Yeah, I think if you're counting all the stuff around it too, especially as I think back to like the thing about like what Rudo was saying, the different kind of vibes. When the Rockies in 2007 were winning all those games at the end of the year, right? Like that's a vibe that like hangs over the city every single day and just doesn't go away at all. I remember being at several of those games and it's like before the game, everyone's in Lodo, so it's not like tailgating in the parking lot, but everyone's in that area. Yeah. It's basically the same thing. It's a citywide tailgate.
It's like opening day where all those bars are just
It's on every television in every building you walk into.
Yeah.
Like.
Right. And then when the games would end, people would just kind of flood out onto the streets. And because it's not like some of these other terrible located ballparks I've been to throughout the country, because it's such a great community there, people don't just leave. They all stay there and they just go to the bar, this one or that one or that one or that one, and everyone's hanging out. So the vibe just remains. And I think, obviously it's unfortunate we haven't gotten a lot of that, but I think that's one of the, for me, because I prefer a little bit more of that relaxed but sustained energy vibe. That's where I really get into that. Like I love the everydayness about it. When you do, and it's too bad that obviously in 2017 they only got the one game, and then in 8, which was on the road, and then in 2018 they only got the one game at home, and it was freezing cold, and they were already down 2-0. They got swept, and that was the end of it. So we didn't really get to experience the everydayness when your baseball team goes on a late run in September and October. There's nothing like it in sports.
Yeah,
So
I was
cool.
bummed because we had tickets for the second home game, and obviously it never got to that. And
a theoretical game 4.
Yeah, and the first game it was freezing, and so it wasn't like. But that was my first time like really experiencing October, so I was bummed we didn't get to go to that. But Sasha here asked, how was the vibe for All-Star Weekend? It was really, really cool. It was
incredible.
Fun to have the whole city be like baseball oriented. All right, next question here is best TV show set in Colorado. They found a list saying South Park, Community, Mork and Mindy, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Last Man Standing, or Man in the High Castle. The only one of those that I've seen is South Park, so I'm going to say South Park. Oh, I've watched some Community, but I think South Park for me. What about you guys?
There was one episode of a show called Warehouse 13 that was in Colorado, and it's maybe one of my favorite shows of all time, so that's my answer.
Okay.
That was a really good show. I haven't thought about that show in forever, and I had no idea any of it was in Colorado. I need to go watch that episode. The answer is South Park, though.
South Park. Drew, how about you?
South Park and Community are both pretty darn good. I also want to give a shout out to Sweet Tooth on Netflix. It's new. It's been produced by Robert Downey Jr. And it's like a post-apocalyptic fantasy sci-fi thing, and it features Colorado. So
The Ranch, that's also on Netflix, and that is featured more in like the Grand Junction area of Colorado. I watched, I think, a few seasons of that one, and it was entertaining. Ashton Kutcher is on there. It's like a comedy. It's like to me, it was like a good show to have on like in the background when you're like doing laundry or cooking, and you're just kind of like listening, but not like a show that you're like so deep into. Mac, what about you? Oh, you're muted.
Wow.
Muted.
Well, sorry, rookie move. I don't watch anything unless it's reality TV, which is why my brain is mush. But I have seen Man in the High Castle. That's a Netflix, or no, that's an Amazon original. And it is incredible. It is one of the best like original series I've ever seen. So I hate South Park. I think it's the most annoying show besides SpongeBob, like on the planet. It's obnoxious.
Wow. Okay.
Whoa, one at a time.
That's wrong.
My childhood is falling apart.
If I had to pick from that list, I'd definitely pick Man in the High Castle. If you haven't seen it yet, I really recommend going to watch it because it's so good. But yeah, South Park is the most annoying show ever besides SpongeBob. So
well,
not it for me.
Everyone's own
Hard
opinion.
disagree.
You can have wrong opinions.
All right, we're gonna move on before that becomes a debate. Sasha asked this question. Lindsay's very excited to hear Henry's answer specifically. So Henry, we're gonna go first to you. Which body part do you wish you could detach and why? And this will not by any circumstance turn into a Manscaped read, or I will take you out of here. Don't tempt me.
Oh, that is tempting because sometimes. Okay, yeah.
No.
It's a good question though, because I'll start by saying like I don't spend time thinking about like one of my body parts. Like I wish this was gone. Like for the most part, I'm pretty happy having all of them. But I mean, I feel like the easy answer is something that you don't really need, right? Like you pick the least important toe. Like I'm not sure. It's not like the big one.
Hold on.
It's definitely on your left.
Can
foot,
you
right?
Can you reattach it?
I don't.
At will?
Sasha, we need your help with that. He's in the comments here.
Right, are we just losing the body part altogether, or is this like a detach it for a particular purpose and then reattach it later on?
Yes, you can reattach it. He has confirmed.
That
I'm
changes
glad
everything.
Henry's confused now. Look at Henry.
Now we're back to the
that does change
Manscaped answer.
everything.
That's the only answer.
Definitely.
This is so easy for me. I would take my ears off so then I wouldn't have to listen to anybody for like a certain amount of time.
There's a good answer.
And then I could put them back on when I want to hear you again. But
That is
if I don't want to
very
hear you, I'm taking my ears off.
You're like, bye.
Exactly.
That is a good one. Yeah, I think I would go with that too because I can't really think of anything.
I know. Because there's like times where like something is stuck in like a very small place, you know, and so like to kind of like reach down there. Like for example, I was golfing with Ryan. Ryan dropped something in the bottom of his golf bag, and he said, "Hank, you have skinny arms. You do this. What if you could take one of your arms off?
Okay, that's going in.
Hold it with the other arm, and like whenever something's like stuck behind something, you kind of have the length of two arms."
It's not bad. It's like those extendable like claw things that like old people use to pick stuff up when they don't want to bend over.
Except probably it would work way better.
Yes.
Because it has like real fingers and stuff that you can feel.
Yep. That Henry. That.
But can you feel it if it's not attached to your arm, like your body?
We're gonna have to go back to Sasha for that one.
I feel like you would lose the feeling if you take it off of your body.
Yes, Henry, that is
That's
allowed.
allowed.
Sasha makes
like
all the rules here.
That's the best use, I feel like there. Yeah, extended arm. Because, yeah, I mean, extended leg just to make yourself taller doesn't
have the same effect. Yeah.
No.
They still have to balance.
Extra reachy grabby space seems like the best possible.
There's still so many questions here. Like, does it hurt to remove your arm? Like, or does it just come off? Like,
it comes off.
Can you send your nose ahead as a scout for certain things? I guess that could be useful. I could see your detachable nose or an eye. Yeah, send your
eye would be cool.
Like
That
might Harry Potter when he would, like,
eye around a corner.
Now we're making progress here, folks.
For me, I get headaches if like smells are too strong, so I think I would your nose then, so that way like if I was walking through something or with someone that has really strong like perfume or spices, like it just will start giving me a headache, even though they smell so good, which sucks. But so I guess I would avoid the headache there.
It's a good one.
Okay.
I really do like the eye idea. It's like if you're like golfing or something, you don't know if the group's still in front of you up there behind the hill or whatever. Just pull it out and just
You just like throw it.
throw it.
Just
Be
toss your
great
eyeball.
male birth control.
Okay. We are going to move on. Newman asks Drew specifically this question: how often do you get back to Grand Junction for some peaches this time of year?
Oh, well, I used to go back pretty regularly. Obviously, the pandemic has made that a little bit more difficult. And right this moment, there's a big old honking mudslide on I-70.
Yeah,
and
you can
Yeah.
literally not go through.
Yeah, so not a good idea. And sadly, the Grand Junction Rockies no longer have an affiliate with the Colorado Rockies, and so I used to have like an extra excuse. I like being super efficient with stuff like that. So it's like I would go home whenever the new draft picks would arrive and spend a weekend with mom. We always go out and do Palisade Peaches and winery tours because you can get free wine and fudge and walk around and end up having a real nice day in Palisade. But I haven't done that for probably 2 years since before I haven't gone back since the pandemic, and I need to, but probably won't have a chance until the holidays.
The bar has a Palisade Peach Mule. So freaking good. I recommend getting that when you come here. Anytime I have new friends who come here, I think Mac, like the first night that she was here, I was like, try this. It's so freaking good.
It is really good. Really, really good.
Okay, the next question is from Gotzak. I think that's how you say that. I don't know. They ask, who does the best ad reads in the company? It definitely has to be Rudo.
Absolutely.
Yep, that'd be my pick.
Only if it's a Manscaped read.
Well,
I was gonna say my Green Mountain Dental read is very convincing, I will say. So if it has to do with dentists, I got it. But otherwise, it's definitely Rudo's Manscaped read.
everyone's just super entertained by that, so I feel like that's just like the easiest one. But Rudo, since you're so good at reads, why don't you tell us about why don't you tell us about Solace Meds?
Yeah, Solace is great for all of your cannabis needs. You can head on down there anytime you want and use code DNVR20 to get 20% off. I prefer their online method though, because you can order
Online's
it for pickup.
definitely easier.
Like I'm one of those people who like feels super awkward standing in the dispensary and like looking around and not knowing what I'm doing. So if I just order it for pickup, I can just show up and grab my stuff and leave.
You're like, don't ask me questions. I don't know what's happening.
Exactly.
I just need the thing I like, and we'll head out of here.
Right. So if you don't want to be awkward, do that. But they do have deals in store as well, ranging from 15 to 25% off. I know D-Line's Dixie right now, I think you can get 2 bottles for $30. So they do have some good deals if you want to go check them out.
I really like Dixie for sleep. Like I took some Dixie when I had my wisdom teeth surgery, and that really helped me out. So I recommend it. And then Eric just likes to drink it just to drink it. Same with Kale. They really enjoy that. So definitely check out the Dixie. And the fact that they have that great deal, plus they have DMVR 30, you get 30% off.
Bam. Can't go wrong. 4 locations, even for you CSU people, one up in Fort Collins. So get it.
And if you go to the Wheat Ridge location, you can get a free Solace bar or a King Cone. That's dope. You get free stuff. What more could you ask for? So definitely check out Solace Meds.
Getting high for free. High school me would have loved that.
I love that Ali threw a random "that's dope" in there too.
It is.
It is.
Hey. Oh, hey.
And also they have gummies to help sleep. That's something like I've been having trouble sleep, so definitely check out CBD.
Ask them
or
about
THC.
CBN. CBD is super cool too, but CBN specifically for sleep it's like the next step in that whole CBD process. Very, very little THC, and that's not a psychoactive thing. If sleep is what you need, the CBN gummies that they have at Solace Meds, mother approved.
All right, me and AJ are gonna need to try that because he's been having that issue. Cherry juice is what I've been drinking now. It's natural, but I would prefer getting some CBM gummies, Solace Meds.
CBN,
All right, Rob didn't have a question, but he wanted us to know he hopes. It was so loud. I don't know if that was you, Drew, but it
Oh, was
was
that
like
me?
a hurricane.
It's fixed now.
It is.
Rob just said, I hope you guys have a great show today. Thanks, Rob. What is the next question? What non-Colorado team in the league you cover do you find yourself rooting for the most and why?
Say it one more time.
What non-Colorado team in the league you cover do you find yourself rooting for the most and why?
So AJ and I just pre-recorded a show for next week, and I found myself picking a lot of Florida Panther players. So I guess it's the Florida Panthers because their players are dope and all of my favorite players, not in Colorado.
It was a lot of Florida players, Lightning and Panthers.
Yeah, there were Lightning players on there too.
I was like, whoa there. Come on, Rudo. What about you, Henry?
Honestly, that's hard. Like, I cheer for all of them. Like, I really like cheering for all of them too.
When it comes to college football.
No, but yeah, Pac-12.
Yes.
Yeah. Just because like when any of them win, it is so good for the rest of them because of the dumb way that college sports work. But like, if you want something specific, Arizona State last year was supposed to be fun, but then they didn't really play because they can't. Ooh, yeah, we don't need to get into that. Then like UCLA, that Final Four run, that was a bunch of fun. Oh, here's what we're gonna do: Oregon State when they got hot with Wayne Tinkle as the head coach. That's gonna be the one.
That was really cool. Basketball for sure. Oregon State football just still haunts me in my nightmares as a Buffs fan, so I can never root for that team. Buffs fans will understand. Okay, Mac, Drew, what about you guys?
Well, it's controversial, but I cheer for the Diamondbacks, which is very sad for me because my two favorite teams are the worst.
Not having a good time right now.
It is so sad to be me right now. I'm really having a rough baseball season, but I worked for the Diamondbacks for 3 years, and I will always cheer for them. The organization is incredible from the top down, but it's a rough time to be a baseball fan in Michaela's world. And then my American League team is the Angels. So I'm also just not doing
Not having a good time.
It's a really sad time over here. Yeah, for me.
What about you, Drew?
Yeah, it's always important to remember that baseball hates every individual personally. It's important to remember that.
I have been victimized by baseball.
I root for the Toronto Blue Jays. I sort of mentioned that earlier. They've got a really fun team. As a child of 90s baseball, that all of the kids of all my favorite players are playing for that team. It's like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette. They're a whole lot of fun. They got a lot of young talent, and they're just fun to watch. So Toronto's been my team. I switch every year basically based on that criteria of, like Rudo was saying, like which team has players that I think are the most fun and that I find most entertaining to watch, and I am going to enjoy watching them. So, this year that's been Toronto.
To me, it would have to be like the Eagles. Like the Eagles are my team, but if not, then it's the Broncos. Like I enjoy watching the Broncos. Obviously, when the Broncos play well, that's really great for Dmvr and everyone here, and it's so much fun in the city and all that stuff. So, when it comes to like football, it would be either or Broncos, Eagles for me. Next question from Patrick here saying, what would be the worst sport to have to cover in the month of August when it's super hot? He said, my vote, NASCAR.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah, that would probably just be the worst sport to cover regardless of time for me. I'm not covering.
But like because of
like, oh look, another left turn.
There they go.
Because of the heat, like NASCAR is a good one. I would say soccer, like just because you're outside, or golf too. You're just outside.
Exactly.
You're just literally standing there. And golf is a slow sport. It's like 15 minutes a hole. Like if it's really that hot out, it can be miserable to just
What
be there
about
covering
like
it.
long distance running?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
cross country.
Yeah. How do you even cover that sport? Do
I
you
was
just
gonna
like wait
say-
at the finish line, or
I haven't seen much coverage actually.
There's
I'm
probably
not sure
a
they do
reason
cover
why.
that
Yeah.
sport.
Reporters hang out during the long distance run just at the
Yeah,
end.
it's
Oh,
definitely something like that.
Yeah.
Or like golf though, because everything else you're in a press box.
Yeah, like golf, you're outside. Oh, you're right.
For
Soccer,
me, it would
you're in
be
a press
golf.
box too.
Golf
Yeah.
itself is so boring, and then you're outside, and it's just god awful. Like
No,
the worst combination.
no,
and you
you're
have
on
to
a
be quiet.
Beautiful
And you have to
golf
just, like,
course. You're enjoying the scenery.
Have you gone to a
No.
yeah?
You
Have
can
you
be
gone
one
to
of
a golf
those
tournament,
people.
Michaela?
Mac is just remembering when the odd cast between our Henry and Ryan and Mark Mosher and Vic Lombardi, and Mac was there. She was getting all the social content, but when we'd have a break, she'd be like, ugh.
It was so hot. It's so boring. The sport is just the worst if you're not playing it. Like, I get the reason if you're playing, but if you're just sitting there watching people golf, like, it's like watching paint dry.
No, all
And
right.
also, it takes hours to finish, which is so annoying. Like, just wrap this shit up. I want to go home.
I
You
don't
keep
feel
yourself
like the
entertained, though.
baseball people get to be calling other sports boring.
True. True.
Baseball
No,
is not boring. You are, okay? You just
Oh,
don't
Golf
Okay.
isn't boring. You are.
All right, we're gonna move on before this becomes a fighting discussion.
I said let him go. I'm here for this. Team Mac all the way.
Walk-up songs. What would be your walk-up song?
Oh,
I already have mine.
man.
All right,
Voodoo
Mac,
Chow
go.
remix Jimi Hendrix.
Mine would be Wild Thing because of the movie Major League. And I think it is a great walk-up song that everybody would get pumped to. It's like Charlie's walk-up song. Like,
Yeah.
everyone knows that song and they would sing it along with you. And it's just a classic. So I would do Wild Thing.
Rudo?
So I would have one for a very long time. And this is like, there's two, so I'm of two minds. There's the normal me who thinks this would be awesome, and then there's the internet troll of me. So for a very long time, I would just have it be I Believe in a Thing Called Love. Just start at the guitar solo and you're good to go. And then one day, after like years of having that, I would Rickroll everybody.
Okay. Henry, how about
You're
you?
a bad human. And you should
That's a really tough question. I don't
You're a bad
really
human and
have
you should
one.
feel bad. Yeah, I don't
Um,
know for this. This is a hard question. I
I
need like
know.
a second.
You can
I pulled
tell
up
who the baseball
my music.
people were that Michaela and I had ours immediately.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I've already thought about this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Right. I was like, my answer has changed a couple of times over the years. I've got my backup one for like maybe spring training or like early in the season. Some guys will do that where they'll have a different song that plays for like clutch moments. Guys will do that where like, hey, this is my walk-up song, but it's a big moment in the 8th or 9th. I'm gonna play this one
Gotta do
instead.
that one. Okay. Henry,
So-
can you think of one? Or should
You
we
can
move on to the
Rickroll.
next question?
What didn't Trevor Story have like a Rihanna song?
Sounds possible.
I
Trevor
thought that
Story
was pretty cool.
or Troy Tulowitzki was the one who was more famous for always having
Yeah.
pop singers. He came out to a Miley Cyrus song for a little while. Party in the USA, I believe, was his
Yep.
walk-up song. And
Yep.
he was just wrecking people. Imagine that. Some dude walks out to Party in the USA, and it's just a 450-foot home run.
If you're talking about Miley Cyrus, a wrecking ball would be a good one for baseball, coming in like a wrecking ball. I'm not saying that's the one I would choose, but the significance, you know. Anyways, all right, next question. We have a few more before we wrap up the show today. Usernames are interesting in our Discord. So this one, it says, would you take $100,000 in cash in exchange for not being able to watch a college or NFL football game for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Yes. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, no problem.
I
I'm
wouldn't.
good. Thanks.
I
How
would.
much
That's
money
one.
was it?
100,000.
Yeah, I'd do it.
A million,
Yeah.
I would do it, but 100,000, no.
I'd do it for
My-
like $500.
Well, okay.
My
I already
issue
knew,
is
I already
that,
knew
like,
that answer was going to be from Drew. I didn't expect Rudo to.
like I wouldn't have a career
No.
is the
Yeah.
issue. I'd have to like totally restructure my entire life,
Yeah.
and I might be losing out on $100,000 because of that. So I'm just gonna say no. Hopefully nobody puts me in this situation.
Yeah.
It's easy for me because my two favorite teams suck, the Broncos and ASU. They're so bad. So
Okay, but
I
the-
really am not missing out on much.
But the
And my two favorite sports are baseball and hockey, so I can survive just fine without football.
Broncos fans, you kill me sometimes. You literally have won 3 Super Bowls. We're one of the best. Just because you're bad right now, like, come on.
Allie, I expect greatness every single season. And when I don't get it, I'm done. I'm walking out.
God, you need to go. This fan base needed to go through some pain to like bring out the real fans. Because
I agree.
Try being an Eagles fan. Literally, we just got our first Super Bowl a few years ago, and I forever indebted, freaking cried my eyes out like, man, Broncos fans, I love you all, but a little spoiled. You guys had some of the best quarterbacks in anyone's lifetime, and you have a lot of wins. So I'm sorry you're going through a rough time right now, but be grateful for what you have. Okay, next question. What sport would they cover if they were a broadcaster for ESPN 8, the Ocho?
Ooh, cornhole. Give me cornhole. I would love to do cornhole.
That would be awesome. Cover cornhole.
That would be sick. I've already broadcast Rocket League for this company, so I think I have to say that.
I can do some Madden.
Cornhole's a good one.
Ooh, yeah, Madden for Hank would be good.
Well, Henry, you've called Madden championship games before.
Yeah, I'm like the official Dmvr Madden League Super Bowl play-by-play guy, which is a cool title to have because it means you never make it to the Super Bowl.
Yep, I was gonna say you are in that position for a reason.
One of these years, somebody else is gonna have to do it.
I feel like Drew would like the robot fighting league.
Dude, yes, I could totally get into that.
There's arm wrestling. I'm looking up all the sports that are on the Ocho. A putt-putt championship. That would be fun.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Sasha said lawn darts. Lawn darts is a thing.
Lawn darts.
Okay, can someone explain the appeal of axe throwing? Like, it became this phenomenon, and a bunch of like places opened where you could throw axes out.
There's one down the street. Mac, let's go try it.
Well, see, there's a possibility someone might get seriously hurt because they're axes.
I don't understand.
And that I think
cherry pitting championship, dodgeball. Dodgeball would be fun.
Does anybody remember slam ball?
Yes, the street ball slam ball thing with the trampolines.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that
in
stuff
Denver,
was awesome.
with the net and the ball
100%.
on the ground. What is it? It's like a huge thing in Denver. You see it at the park all the time. People set up like little nets.
I know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
spike ball?
Spike
Yeah!
ball.
That's a fun
Is
one.
that on the Ocho? Is that a thing now? Did they make that a thing?
I don't know if that's.
I don't really watch the Ocho. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I haven't
No,
watched
that was
it
actually-
either.
I thought that was just from the movie Dodgeball. I didn't know the Ocho actually existed.
I will
Alright.
say though,
do
there's
like
one thing I won't ever go near, and it involves eating. Like the hot dog eating
yeah.
competition
Oh, those are
is
awesome.
disgusting.
No.
I got
thank you,
that
no,
one
thank
on
you, no,
lock.
thank
I
you.
got
No
that
way.
one.
No
Ugh.
way.
Uh-uh.
They literally shove their face with soggy hot dogs. That is
Ugh.
That's the point.
Please stop. I can't. No, thank you.
I would never.
Okay, last question we've got here. Are you guys excited for the Field of Dreams game tonight? Drew and Rudo and AJ. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hockey has very much burned me out on those like specialty games at this point. I'm done with them.
No, man. Because see, the difference is the corn isn't gonna melt.
The field won't fall apart as you play. That's true.
That is very true.
No, these
I'm
things.
so
There's other than the fact that Major League Baseball in general, I'm loath to give them too much credit for anything, and they've made a bunch of missteps in presenting this thing and still blacking you out and whatever. Ultimately, yes, it's going to be really, 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 really cool, and there's just no way around like the magic of baseball on a cornfield, and it's going to be super neat for a lot of people, and I hope it becomes a regular thing because baseball is magical even when it's dumb.
I'm telling you right now, baseball, you'll come to hate it in like 6-7 years.
Rudo,
Trust me, if you keep doing
let
it.
people be happy. Let people be happy. They're
Just
excited
because
is also
the
about
playing
it.
Owls
tonight.
are so bad
Respect
about
that.
putting together Stadium Series games doesn't mean everybody else is going to be
Yeah,
bad.
they've not been good.
No.
Good.
All three of them.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions in the DNVR Lounge. It's always awesome to talk to you guys in there. That is one of the benefits of signing up for a subscription or a membership here at DNVR is that you get to join that lounge, that Discord, chat with everyone all the time. Chat with Rudo, chat with Drew, chat with me, Henry, Mac, all your favorite people, and then also just get to know more people in the community, go to games, come to the bar together. That's probably one of my favorite aspects of it. And like I said, you guys are always so freaking good at giving us questions to talk about that I love turning to you guys for those. So thank you to everyone who sent in a question. Thank you for everyone watching this. The bar this weekend, we have preseason game, Broncos. We're going to be having a watch party here. Speaking of college football, we're going to have some exciting stuff for the Buffs, Rams. Definitely check that out. We still have that promo code CAMP 2021 for Broncos, where it is a subscription, an annual subscription to DNVR. You pay for that, and then you get a $60 gift card to the DNVR locker. We just got some new hats, golf hat, DNVR letter hat. Right up here, you see that on a hat. So dope.
It's very cool.
So
Kind of looks like you're wearing it like a hat right now. Perfect. Yep.
Definitely recommend checking that out. Plus some other awesome gear and more gear to come. So yeah.
Come to trivia night.
Trivia
Tuesdays.
night.
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
Ryan and I
Trivia
got
night.
second place last trivia
Yes.
with Ryan.
Yeah, because Drew and Henry sucked.
We were off. Team Hank was terrible. We need to get it together for next time.
I'm
I
sure
blame it
everyone-
entirely on being named Team Hank.
I'm
And
sure everyone
Rudo?
bombed the abs questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Rudo?
I knew those were
Dude,
tough
You
this
need
week.
easier questions.
Nobody knows what
Oh my
number
God,
something
Rudo.
wore.
Or what number
Those were
nobody's
so
worn.
hard.
Abs fans come to these because they're freaking hard, and Rudo thinks everyone's gonna know these. One of them was name all of the countries that Abs
that
goalies.
one was not that hard.
Yeah, we just
Yes,
guessed.
it was.
We just guessed cities.
If you just-
We got
If
7
you
of it.
just guess hockey countries, you'd have gotten it.
Henry,
Okay,
there was
that's fine.
10.
You, and we still-
Yeah, but you only listed 8.
Yeah,
You
you only
can get
needed
up to
8 of
8
the
points.
10. Yeah. You only
And
needed 8.
And then there was what is the most worn
Yeah, that one
jersey
was
number
hard.
in
That
Abs
one was
history?
hard.
And,
We
like,
got that
what-
one right.
And it
After
was
a
like,
hint.
Brutal.
what 90s jerseys haven't been worn yet?
Yep.
I was like, bro, this is so ridiculous.
That's Gretzky, easy. You should have at least got 1 on that.
We did.
We-
We ended up getting 2 of the 3, but
All
it
right.
was
Yeah.
still hard. We did okay, but it was a challenge.
So my questions are
trivia.
good, is what you're telling me.
Clearly, we have a lot of fun at trivia night. We go there, we're talking. Ryan's going around. Yahir's going around, giving clues to people, helping people out. It is so much fun. Plus, we have those giant beer towers now. I saw some people talking about it in the comments. They are such a great deal. And we've got that new bar menu. So just come down to the DMVR bar. It is so much fun. We will catch you guys next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.